situation, the things that they're doing in that situation. And they want a music to fit it, and it is never our kind of music, because music is not neutral. Well, number 5, if music is neutral, why is it that rock and rollers believe that their music is sexy? Frank Zappa believed that. He said rock music is sex. 1968, Life magazine. The big beat matches the body's rhythms. Now, why would he say something like that if music is neutral? Or Ted Nugent, he said in 1977, rock is a total celebration of the physical. Why would he say something like that about rock music? Or Deborah Harry, the main ingredients in rock are sex and sass. Or Gene Simmons, Kiss. That's what rock is all about. Sex with a 100 megaton bomb, the beat. Why would he say that? Rock music is sex because of the beat. Or John Oates, Hall & Oates. Rock and roll is 99% sex. Oh, I've got an idea. Let's use this for the Lord. Malcolm McLaren, manager for some of the wickedest punk rock groups, 1983 said, rock and roll is pagan and primitive and very jungle. That's right, Malcolm. And Jimi Hendrix. He said, perhaps my music is sexy. Jimi Hendrix certainly knew a lot about rock and roll. Perhaps my music is sexy, but what music with the big beat isn't? I agree, Jimmy. And Tina Turner, the very well-known Tina Turner. Rock and roll is fun. It's full of energy. It's naughty. That's right. She's right. Patti LaBelle. Rock and roll was something that's hardcore, rough and wild and sweaty and wet and just loose. That's right, Patti. That's what rock and roll is, of course. That's why rock and roll did to my life as a young man what it did. Sure, that's what rock and roll is, of course, because music is not neutral. And they play that kind of music because it has a certain kind of effect. If music is neutral, why do world-famous conductors and composers believe that music is a language? They're not Christians. Leonard Bernstein certainly was not a Bible-believing Christian, but he said music does not have to pass through the center of the brain before it can reach the heart. He's saying music is a language that goes directly to the heart and speaks to the heart. Oh, the Bible tells us a lot about the heart, doesn't it? And how important it is and how it's to be guarded. And he says music can speak right to your heart, doesn't even have to go to your brain. Now that's what Leonard Bernstein believed. Howard Hanson, Eastman School of Music, was the head of it for almost 40 years, Rochester, New York. He said music has powers for evil as well as for good. He didn't have any agenda to try to defend contemporary music. He was just stating what he believed about music. And we could quote many others. Robert Shaw, very famous. Robert Shaw, the Shaw Chorales. He was asked the question, is music neutral? He said, all of the arts are moral, and music is the most moral of the arts. He was not a Christian. Also, if music is neutral, why do many prominent social critics believe that music is a language that affects society? Ones that are not Christians, that do not have any kind of Christian agenda. William Kilpatrick, professor of education at Boston College, he says in his book, Why Johnny Can't Tell Right from Wrong. He's not even a Christian. Rock can't be made respectable. The music will simply subvert the words. No matter how many reforms are attempted, rock and rap will always gravitate in the direction of violence and uncommitted sex. The beat says, do what you want to do. The beat says. He's saying that the beat has a language going there. Or how about this? If music is neutral, why can Muzak Corporation guarantee that their music will make a business more productive? They do guarantee that. They have a website out there. This is a huge corporation. Here's their headquarters building. And this is what they say on their website. Our art is to capture the emotional power of music and put it to work for your business. These are experts in the power of music to literally change people's lives and make you make more money. Let me ask this question. If music is neutral, that means, it's not really a question, that means that the devil has not corrupted music. Now, what kind of sense does that make for a Bible believer? What is the devil called? The god of this world. He's corrupted everything else that God has given man. Religion, language, art, literature, clothing, you name it. And all of a sudden we are to believe that the devil has not had his hand in music? I don't buy that. Also, if music is neutral, why do children respond differently to different pieces of music? I remember when my daughter was little. And we had been on the mission field, and she was only a year and a half old when we left and went over there. And I remember the first time that she was around rock music. I don't remember the exact situation, but she didn't know anything about it. We had never had a TV in our home. There was no influence that had come into her. And for the first time she heard it, was subjected, she started dancing, rock and roll type dancing. Where did she learn to do that? She had never seen it. Her body told her to do that. The music told her body to do that. Music's not neutral. I received an email recently from a man took his family to a church that he didn't know what he was getting into. He asked this question: why did my children behave properly during the traditional morning service, but jump around like they had ants in their pants for 45 minutes during the rock night service at the church we were visiting? Why? Well, the answer is the music was different. And if music is neutral, why does the Bible specify that believers should sing a certain kind of music? And it does in Ephesians 5:19. Many people have written and said, well, the Bible doesn't tell us what kind of music to use. I beg your pardon. In Ephesians 5:19, God's Word says, speaking to yourselves in psalms and hymns and spiritual songs. Now that's a certain kind of music. Spiritual means holy, means set apart for God, means different from this world's music. Spiritual is an identifier for a specific kind of music. And if music's neutral, why would the Bible specify that we're to sing a certain spiritual kind of music? And then lastly, if music is neutral, well, why not just use traditional Christian music then, my contemporary friends, so you do not offend the saints of God who have deep convictions against rock and roll? How about that? If music's neutral, it doesn't really matter. Well, it matters to me a lot. And it matters to tens of thousands of saints, young and old. It's not a generational thing. And it matters deeply. And so if music is nothing, we'll just stay with the traditional kind of. We're not talking about when it was written. One of the hymn books that I enjoy is Majesty Hymns, and many of the songs in that hymn book are written in my lifetime. But they're a different style than anything you'll find in the world. We're talking about style, not when it was written. And the Bible tells us to do that, in fact, in Romans 14, verses 19 and 21. The Bible tells us to do this, to not offend, to not run around offending God's people with things that supposedly do not matter. They say this doesn't matter, this is not an issue. Okay, well then, why are you running around offending so many that in their hearts it is a serious issue? In Romans 14, verse 19, let us therefore follow after the things which make for peace, and things